I cut my skin, it's the same color blood flowing on like spring. They say bunny. Bunch Garland. Yo, brother, love every time. G.I. Yo. Racial differences. We don't know what the sense is. Hey, salute.
99.9 WEFM.
WhatsApp us or call us at 457-9997. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
This is another one of them instruments that you could just leave to play. All right, so we are back with you for another commentary segment on today's Activated Mornings program. In studio, you have myself, Roleza Samuel, and
Dianna Cain.
All right, and we are here with you for another. Outside looks like it's going to be cool. I don't know if it's going to rain, but at least it looks like you should be having a cool day or at least a cool morning, all right? And that's always like a good time to be up and down in town when the place is cool, right? You ain't complaining about hot and you're running into people's office so you could cool down. No, all right? Hopefully you have a cool one today. All right, so just want to say good morning to everybody, wherever you are. Listen to the sound of our voices. Those of you on mainland St. Vincent, those of you in the Grenadines, Backstreet Gang, good morning to you. Those of you in Union Island, I hope trust that everybody is doing okay, and the rebuilding process for many of you, it's going smoothly, it's going quickly, and getting back to some level of normalcy. Those of you far windward, those of you far leeward, those of you central, those by Heritage Square area, good morning. Those across by the market, because I know that Phil sometimes plays, has WEFM on. So those passing across by the market, good morning to you. All right, so yeah, I just do a general good morning because by the time I start to call names, I just forget and then it's feel bad, right? So yeah.
Sure.
All right.
Right. Before we head into our next topic, just to read a comment from someone before on the issue we were talking about. They said, in New York, if you are found with one bullet, it is a sentence of 5 years. And they think that they need to impose stiffer sentences here that may help to change some people. That's one person there. Right. So heading into our next topic at this time, you may have been hearing by now that the hospital recently launched a self-referral mammogram service for women. So Chief Radiographer at the Milton Kitty Memorial Hospital, Ms. Chevon Stewart, is encouraging our women to use the mammogram services at the hospital for breast cancer screening. All right. She's emphasized that the hospital has implemented a new self-referral pathway for mammograms, making it much easier for women to access critical breast cancer screening services rather than relying on a doctor's referral as you had to do previously. So now you have this, you can just go into the hospital. Let me explain the process properly. So she said that once you arrive at the Milton Kitty Memorial Hospital and you meet the requirements, medical staff will facilitate the process by completing the necessary forms. If you want to read a little bit more in detail, because they have some medical terms in the article that I'm reading, so you can go to St. Vincent Times for this article and see the classification of, things there that may cause you to go do a different further investigation, right? So like BIRADS and BIRADS 1, BIRADS 2, BIRADS 3. You probably don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm saying either because I don't know medical terms.
Negative,
right,
benign, probably
right.
benign.
But I mean like that. So if you want to see it for yourself, go on St. Vincent Time, then you could read a little bit more in detail, right? But you now have that service, ladies. Somebody had asked, what about the men? And I read a comment, I think, under this, but
it crossed my mind actually, because men can come down with breast cancer.
Yeah. So it says ladies, but men, I feel like if you think that you want to go and check on this service, you can. There could be no harm in going to the hospital and, doing some inquiries.
And I think for men as well, when they take proactive steps, it always should be commended and applauded, especially if it's a case where, let's say, breast cancer runs in your family. It doesn't mean that as a man, you may not have it or you may not get it. All right. So, caller, good morning.
Yes, good morning to you.
Morning.
Sweet. I nearly say Sweet Caroline. Good morning to you. Maybe it's good to use that name too. Morning to you, Dianna.
Good morning, Dave.
You know, when I call on the radio station, I call because I am happy to hear when people sound happy and when people can communicate, can explain and all of that, certain issues to me. And there's a saying that I've heard, there's never a wrong question, right? But sometimes we have a habit too of saying that's a stupid question and all of that. Anyhow, as I listen, I think I heard a report in Truth by Chevron Stewart on this matter. And sometimes when we address health matters, I get the impression, I don't know for you guys, that there's some health issues that people, the rest of our population, so to speak, may look at as this is just for women. And where the men are concerned, that is just for men. Right? Certain sicknesses or whatever. But what is showing up here too? I know they say men afraid to go to the doctor. You have women who are not afraid of going to the doctor as well. Right? It's a total, right across the board, any health issue, where any health matter is concerned, I think we as a nation have to understand it must be a concern for all of us. None of man, like how I explained just now, don't look at it as though it's just a man's disease or a man's health problem and a woman, in the same, like that as well. I think we need to get the message across to everybody too. Well, you see society evolving over the years, feminine, like let's say there was a time when women wanted liberation, talking about feminism and all these different, we are the ones who created it, we are the ones. So I'm just saying that to say that when we talk about health issues, we must not do any separation. In terms of it is a male thing or it is a woman thing, right? Because I would have thought that this thing is going out to women too. And I must dare say, some of my relationships I would have had, I had to, my partner would say, feel my breast. Do you feel, which for me was a good thing. You understand? Mm-hmm. I don't know if Roleza ever find herself Dianna in that situation.
Dianna had a child. That could be very innocent over here.
I ain't trusting you, I ain't trusting you. And Dianna keeps very quiet on certain matters. But you see, okay.
All right,
that's why my thing is to bring out, is to say that these issues where health is concerned must reach each and every one of us, wherever we are. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Dave. All right. All right. But Dave does raise a very good point there in terms of, I suppose, when it comes to our health services. And, yes, it was encouraging that women should go and get these tests done. But we also need to hear the same push for men. Now, I know it's in relation to mammograms, but the truth of the matter is that men also do come down with breast cancer as well, right? They've also made another important point, as much as it might sound sexual in a way, but it is a very valid point. You also have to encourage your partners to, yes, y'all intimate and that sort of thing that you're already intimate anyways, so you have to encourage them to, they can do the checks. Yeah, teach them how to do the checks, so, they can also be a part in terms of helping you to maintain proper health, at least be proactive in terms of if they detect something or if you detect something. And of course, not just them checking, but you also supposed to be checking too, right? But it is important. I was listening to Charlemagne the God yesterday on the Breakfast Club, and he was making mention of Irv Gotti, who passed away at the age of 54. And that is still a young age to pass away at, having suffered, I think, a stroke. Well, at least one stroke was confirmed before, and then another one. And Charlemagne was making the point that, people, when you are young in particular, that you have to look out for your health, right? Yeah. I think that many persons think that when they get to age 50 and so forth, then that's when they're going to start taking care of their health. But it's accumulation of the things that you did in your younger years. Yep. So if you are going to be drinking excessively, if you're not going to be managing your weight, if you are not keeping, let's say, things like diabetes and hypertension under control, you are going to find yourself in a very tough spot in terms of trying to get on track when you get older, so, and not just the physical things as well, the mental aspect, because stress is killing people, as he said. There are many persons who are taking on a lot emotionally, a lot mentally. Sometimes it might be work, sometimes it might be family, and you have to find a way either to balance things or to make changes in your life so that your mental doesn't impact on the physical, which can lead to an early death. So, yeah. All right. So that's just that first one with regards to the mammogram services being offered there at the hospital.
Yeah. In other wonderful news, almost said extravagant news, but anyways, in other wonderful news, a Braille Workbook for Sexual Health Education has been unveiled, right? So individuals living with visual impairments in SVG can now enhance their understanding of sexual and reproductive health thanks to the release of a specialized Braille Workbook. The Braille version of the Sexual Health Education Workbook was officially handed over to the National Society of and for the Blind last year, Wednesday, December 11th, by the SVG Planned Parenthood Association and UNFPA. So persons who are visually impaired now have a book that they can use, they can read and learn some more about sexual health, sexual education. I don't know of any other such books. If they have, well, I know they would definitely have some other books in other areas, but I like this educational aspect, and I'm hoping that in the future we could see some more, and for other persons with disabilities as well. So I'm glad that these things are happening. Somebody is looking out for those persons who have impairments, and future is looking bright. Yeah,
I think one of the things to note as well is that persons with physical disabilities or even mental challenges, that they are oftentimes taken advantage of in society. And they, it's one thing for you to, let's say, for a predator to go after, let's say, somebody who is underage and not fully aware of what's happening. But it's even more severe. I shouldn't say severe because both of them are just as horrible, right? But for somebody who doesn't have a full understanding of what's happening, let's say the changes within their body, and somebody taking advantage of them, I'm happy to see that this book has come out so that they can not just be taught it in school, but they can also have the book as reinforcement. So if they have any questions about what has happened or what is happening or what should be avoided, they have the book that they can go back to, right? I note in the article that the person, who's this person? No, I think it's Mrs. Odinga Louis Warner. So she is saying, with our sexual and reproductive health, access to accurate and inclusive information is not just a privilege, it is a right. And by ensuring that these manuals are specifically designed to meet the needs of persons with visual impairments, we are saying loudly and clearly that no one is left behind. And I love the fact that the persons who are physically disabled or otherwise challenged, that they are included in this whole education in terms of sexual health and reproduction and everything else, right? So that they can be on their guard and that they are they have the same knowledge base that we have as well. All right. So real commendations. And I was so happy to see this because, you know, I've seen instances where persons who have disabilities of sorts and, you know, they're developing and so forth. And I've seen the way in which some men would interact with them and I cringe and I pray that their parents or whoever else, that they're giving them the correct information so that they will know how to ward off these type of advances. So I'm happy to see that this book was unveiled. All right. So. All righty, so we are going to head on out at this time and be back with more Activated Mornings here on WEFM.